Well, looks like I got me a new project here. It's an old Ford 8N, my grandpa's tractor. Doesn't start. This fall, when he was putting it away for the winter, it died on him as he was driving it in. So, we pushed her out just before the snow hit and brought it up, and I found out it had no spark. So I just made a little jumper wire and we got spark out of it, but it still wouldn't start. So did a quick compression test, and one of the cylinders had no compression, and another one had very, very, very little. So something's going on. Not exactly sure what, but I'm going to go ahead and charge up the battery so I can just go over it again, do another compression test and check. But I got to do a couple oil changes before I bring it into the shop. So right now we'll just charge up the battery and push it in later. But yeah, I don't know much about these. Never really worked on a tractor. I noticed when I was looking at the ignition system, when it didn't have any spark, that this is a positive ground system, which is a little odd. Usually cars nowadays are all negative ground, so I guess just keep that in mind when you're working on something. It might be a little bit different than what you're used to. It's like those old cars I got in the garage here on the lug nuts. One side is right hand's red and the other side's left hand's red, so you go to take a wheel off and it won't come off. Make sure you're going the right way. So I guess I'll get back to you when I push it into the shop and start looking at her some more. Well, I've had her sitting here charging up for a while, and tightened up the spark plugs and put the wires back on. So just for shits and giggles, we'll see if it'll start. I don't think it will, but we'll give her a shot. Now the wiring of the key is all toast, so I've got this little jumper wire here we use for ignition. Yeah, push the clutch in and we'll just turn her over, see if it turns over. Way too slow. Have to charge her up some more, I think. Alright, I got the charger back on it, and I'm going to go ahead and throw it on engine start and just see if it'll crank a little bit faster. Not near fast enough, so I guess we'll just have to let it charge. Got the tractor in the shop here, and when I was cranking it before, I kind of had a brain fart and forgot I was working with a 6-volt system, so they crank kind of slow anyway. But yeah, I got it in here. I did another compression test on it, and I got 80 psi here, which ain't really bad for a tractor that's 64 years old, and engine was rebuilt about 40 years ago. It's been run every year since, so that ain't too bad, leaking past the rings. And that hole we got only 30 psi, and I put my little I don't know where it is, but my cylinder leak down tester on it, and I could hear it coming out the exhaust on that one, so maybe a valve issue in there. This one had 50 psi in it coming out the rings on my leak down tester, so that's, I guess, to be expected. If you look at this wire, it's been taped up, and it's orange, and all the rest of them are gray, so somebody put it in there afterwards. And if you look down here, it's all taped up here because it was actually running into this belt for who knows how long, and it actually wore a V into the wire. I saw it before we got it all tucked up out of the way, so that cylinder probably wasn't firing all the time, and gas would wash it down and wear down the cylinder walls. But that's not too bad. I mean, obviously you'd use a complete engine rebuild. I don't know if we'll be doing that though. And this one we had 15 psi on, 10 or 15 psi, real bad leak coming out the intake. I put my tester on it and blew air through, and you could actually feel it coming out of the other holes wherever the intake valve was open. And you put your finger on the hole, and you'd listen here at the air filter, and you can hear the oil bubbling, the old oil bath air filter. So I'm thinking maybe it needs some valves in there. I'm probably going to pull the head tomorrow and just take a look at them and see if there's any big obvious chunks missing. Another thing we got to do to it is replace spark plug wires, of course, because I mean they're probably God knows how old. And gonna go ahead and replace this ignition switch too. The wires are all frayed and it wasn't working right, and that's why it didn't have spark. So we're gonna go ahead and tackle that, I think, tomorrow. At least take the head off, and then I'll take a peek in there and then talk to my grandpa, see what he wants to do. The fuel shut off on the bottom of this carburetor. You know, I mean, it works, but you probably won't be able to see it, but it leaks when you've got it closed. So I don't know if you'll want to do anything with that. But yeah, got her all apart. All in all, not bad for being rebuilt 40 years ago. I managed to get the head off all right. Mentioned before that the exhaust valve was leaking out the exhaust on this one, and I haven't popped it up yet because I'm going to vacuum around here and take all that rust off and any loose crap and get that out of the way before I turn it over. But if I put my finger on here, I don't know if you'll be able to see it real well, but I can actually move that valve back and forth, and it's in the position where it should be fully seated and you shouldn't be able to rock it at all, but I can rock it, so that's probably worn out. This one over here, by contrast, is good. I can't wiggle that at all. So that's that one's bad for sure. So we'll come over here. This one was leaking on the intake. I can't wiggle this one, but we'll pop it up and we'll just look and see if there's any chunks missing or pieces that have fallen in there and stopping it from closing all the way. And to replace these valves, I'm going to have to pull this manifold here off, and this stuff in the front, the carburetor and everything. And once I get that done, there's 2 plates in there, inspection plates. I can pull those off and get to the valves. So what I'm going to do for right now is just vacuum this off, clean it up, and turn it over so that these valves pop up and I can have a look at the seats where they seat. So I guess I'll get on that.